Thanks for joining me today, and welcome to our session, Slack for Developer Teams. My name's Rowan Kisson, and I'm one of the solution engineers here at Slack. To start on the same page, I want to begin with a short reminder on what Slack is. Slack brings together your teams, dev tools, and partners so engineering teams can ship quality code faster, minimize incidents and downtime, and scale your engineering organization along the way. And of course, Slack applies beyond engineering teams. Increasingly, our customers are talking about Slack as their digital HQ. So just before we get started, I want to spend a moment on what that means. Slack is your digital HQ. We've completely reimagined what a digital HQ should be. We didn't take the prototype of a physical HQ and move it online. We architected it around 3 pillars. We created a space without silos for everyone, where employees share knowledge, culture, and identity. It's a place you can move as fast in your work because you have new ways of working that are flexible to your work style. And now, anyone in your company, whether you're a developer, an executive assistant, a marketing manager, absolutely everyone can automate tasks that take time away from deep, meaningful work or time you could be spending with your team and customers. We do 3 things that no one else has ever done in the history of work. Not even digital transformation has achieved this. The first thing, we break down communication and collaboration silos across your organization. And the way we do that is through Slack channels. Slack channels transform how your teams work together, which results in increased performance because of its structure of people's work in channels mirrors the priorities of your company. And we take it one step further. We get you out of these email silos and invite your customers, partners, and vendors in Slack Connect and collaborate securely in real time, all within Slack. The second thing we do is help you embrace flexibility so that all of your employees can do their best work from anywhere and in any way. Slack gives you the ability to work synchronously and asynchronously. It doesn't matter if it's on a couch, in a coffee shop, or in a park. We can do it with tools like Slack huddles and clips so your employees can choose where and how and when they participate and contribute their best work. And third, I know this sounds like something from the future, but it's actually happening right now. We bring together the power of automation to everyone in your company, from your customer success managers, to your procurement team, to your field agents, absolutely everyone. In fact, 80% of workflows that are built within Slack are created by non-developers. Everyone has the chance to automate their tasks with our building blocks, templates, and workflows. And what does this mean for an engineering team? You can ship your engineers' code faster, minimize incidents and downtime. You can keep your teams productive and engaged. It creates a shared layer of engagement across the entire organization, eliminating those costly silos that can be a drag on collaboration and productivity. So how is Slack used by development teams specifically? And why do so many developers love Slack? Let's get started by talking about tools. A few years ago, I made the move to London, and when I entered my new apartment with my suitcases, I found that the cupboard door was loose and hanging off its hinges. I needed a screwdriver for this situation. The only issue was that I didn't have one at the time. I tried a couple of options to tighten a flathead screw, searching my apartment for any thin, firm, and flat objects that I could find. Initially, I used the tab of a soft can drink, but the leading solution of the time ended up being the edge of a butter knife. Look, it temporarily got the job done. The flathead screw was tightened enough. I wouldn't say my MacGyver-like handyman skills made it completely secure though. Of course, they weren't the most flattering use of these objects. At one point, I actually changed the structure of one of my butter knives. And let's just say it can't be used on a block of butter anymore. So what's the point here? After trying many options to getting the job done, the next day I ended up going to the hardware store and picking up a screwdriver set. And it was pretty clear that having the right tool for the right job made all the difference. So my conclusion here, most jobs are much easier to get done when you have the right tool. And that's true with software developers too. You have a bunch of skilled developers who want to move as fast as possible, but they get bogged down with tools that aren't optimized for the job that they're trying to do, just like the butter knife. And eventually that takes a toll on both their productivity and their morale. But when you provide your engineers with the right tools, you get a more engaged team working at a more faster pace. McKinsey actually studied hundreds of businesses to find out what conditions led to high developer velocity. They identified tools as having the greatest impact on developer velocity because the right tools remove friction, increase innovation, and empower developers to do their best work. And improvements to developer velocity are paying off in business outcomes. In the same study, companies who are in the top quartile of developer velocity are also 55% more innovative than the bottom quartile, and they achieve 5 times performance compared to their peers in the market. So having the right tools has a massive impact. Let's look deeper on what that means at Slack. Over the next 10 minutes or so, I'd like to share with you 3 ways that we use Slack internally to accelerate developer velocity and minimize downtime. So let's start at looking at improving service reliability. Discover, resolve, and get to the bottom of what caused incidents faster by making sure the urgent alerts reach the right people, response teams have the central place to triage, and historical records for post-incident analysis are documented using Slack channels and integrations with your existing incident management tools. Sounds good? Let's have a look at what this looks like in action. For companies relying purely on email and phone bridges, incident response can be painful. Each time someone joins the incident, they start without an understanding of what already has been done. Time is spent bringing people up to speed, which disrupts the conversation and slows down the response. Let's see how this works in Slack. Using the incident PDE command, I can pull up the incident bot to help. Let's look at some of the things that Incident Bot can help with. First of all, if I'm new to Incident Bot, I've got a link to the FAQ document right at the top. I can also generate a link to the document from wherever I am in Slack using the /go incident bot FAQ command. Next, I have a couple of ways to launch an incident response channel. I can either create a new channel, or I can convert an existing channel. And we'll come back to these options shortly. Finally, I have some commands available to me to manage an incident. I can set an incident commander, set a severity, or create or post an update report, all directly within Slack. Now let's imagine that I need to launch a new incident. I can do that by clicking the Launch Incident button at the top. From here, I'll be prompted to provide a brief summary of the issue. In this case, we have a file upload issue, a severity level, and finally an incident commander. And in this case, I'll select myself. So as soon as I click Create, an incident bot will get to work, automating the initial steps of our incident response process, providing me updates in channel as it does so. I can see here that it's created a new ticket in Jira, which is our system of record. It's created a dedicated Slack channel named after the incident and invited those interested parties into channel. Let's take a look at that channel by clicking on the link here. As well as creating a dedicated channel and inviting in those interested parties, the incident bot also shares the resources the incident manager and the response team may need in order to resolve the incident, such as FAQs, checklists, and definitions of severity levels. It's also possible to provide a quick clip to provide updates from my perspective. A Zoom meeting could be spun up for voice and video if necessary, but the channel is where most of the discussion takes place. That way, as new responders join the incident, they can bring themselves up to speed on what's already happened. Having all of this activity documented in channel also massively speeds up the process of preparing postmortems. So in summary, by centralizing and automating communications, Slack can improve response times and overall service reliability. Now that we are familiar with improving service reliability, let's look at what it means to ship quality code faster. Moving from planning to coding in record time and deliver high-quality products faster than their competition is on every developer's mind. By bringing your tech teams together in Slack channels, by integrating all of your existing tools with the Slack platform, That is possible without the risk to miss a key factor of quality. What does that mean? Let's have a look at this in action. A key factor of quality is security, but all too often security is considered too late in the development process. With pressure to get the feature shipped, the risk is that teams miss an important consideration. Let's see how Slack can help. Imagine that I'm working on a project and I want to make sure that I'm following the best practices in terms of product security. Using the /SDL command, SDL standing for Secure Development Lifecycle, I can pull up the SDL bot to help. First of all, the bot lets me know that there's some information about my project that I should have to hand before I proceed. That includes my project's Jira Epic, a link to this technical spec, and also the proposed internal launch date. The bot also signposts me to helpful resources related to the secure development lifestyle process. They include the product securities team channel, their office hours, as well as a training course in Continue, our learning management system. And finally, the bot lets me know how it can help. Once I've provided some inputs, I will create a Jira ticket for the security team to review and also provide me with a checklist of security best practices customized to my particular project. To kick things off, I'll click on the Let's Go button. From here, I'll be prompted to input some information about this particular project. The first being the project name, the Jira Epic, a link to the technical spec, as well as the project channel, a link to the location of the code in GitHub, also a description of the feature, an internal launch date, the security risk, which could be low, medium, or high, as well as any specific questions I would like answered by the product security team. Next, I'll be prompted to choose which components apply to my project. But for the purposes of this demo, we're going to show a couple of components. But in our production app, we'd have all sort of front-end and back-end components listed here. To choose a component, I click on the button on the right-hand side. And once I'm done, I click Submit. Finally, I can review all of the information I've already entered to optionally edit any fields if needed. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and click Submit. Once that's done, a couple of things happen. Firstly, a Jira ticket is created and assigned to the product security team for review. Secondly, a confirmation message is sent to the channel, which includes a link to the customized security checklist, which has been generated for my project. Because the confirmation is sent to channel, the rest of the team are kept up to date. By allowing developers to quickly and easily generate checklists from where they're already working, SDL Bot ensures developers can ship quality code without compromising on speed. So far, so good. Let's come to the last way of how we use Slack internally to accelerate developer velocity and minimize downtime. It's about keeping teams productive and engaged. Imagine you can make it easier for your engineers to spend time focused on high-value work instead of losing time switching tools and finding the people that are responsible. How? Let's go see Slack in action. As code bases and the organizations supporting them become larger and more complex, it can be difficult to keep track of who's responsible for what. Imagine I'm working on a feature which will make use of our file upload service. I'd like to understand a bit more about the service I'm going to be working with, but I'm not sure which team internally is responsible for it. Using the /escalate command, I can pull up the escalation bot to help. Now, we can use the escalation bot for all kinds of things. At the bottom here, you can see that I can report a bug, which will create a Jira ticket, and I can share it into the relevant team's channel. I can page an engineer that's on call for a particular service, and from there, hop onto a quick huddle with them or even declare a major incident and summon the major incident response team. For our scenario though, I'm going to use the Find Owner button at the top. Now I'll be prompted to describe the service I'm looking for more information. So here, I'm going to type in file uploads. Next, I'm shown a list of services that have been pulled from our service catalog that match my search. In our case, there's 3 services, all owned by the same team, interop files. For each of the services, we can see a service name, a description, as well as a button. If none of these results look right, I can ask in the Please Service Ownership channel to get an answer from a human. Once I've got the answer there, I can click on Choose a Service or Choose a Different Service and let the escalation bot know for next time. But in our case, it looks like the first result. File uploads is the service I'm looking for, so I'm going to go ahead and click that button. Now I'm presented with all the information I might need around the service, including the team that own it, their Slack channels, their Jira projects, and more. I can even page an engineer that's on call for this particular service using the button at the bottom. By allowing developers to query our service catalog directly from Slack, where they're already working, our escalation bot reduces time spent context switching, which in turn improves productivity. And for the thousands of customers across the globe, Slack is the right tool for quickly resolving incidents, shipping code faster, and keeping your talent happy. And here is how one of our customers are using Slack for their software development teams. Vodafone is one of the world's largest telecom providers, and to monitor and escalate customer-facing events, their team relies on the PagerDuty integration for Slack. When an incident occurs in the production environment, the integration notifies the right team down to the right individual within milliseconds, and all within Slack. This dramatically reduces the mean time to resolution by contacting and alerting the right person at exactly the right time. Before Slack, it would have taken 15 to 20 minutes to resolve the issue, but they've reduced that to under 5. Slack also offers Vodafone executives visibility into new workflows, which ultimately results in a better product faster. I hope you enjoy the deep dive into how developers use Slack and agree to the fact that I initially highlighted that using the right tool makes all the difference. When you adopt Slack, you'll be joining thousands of other companies who have not only transformed their development operations, but the culture and results of their entire organization. Finally, I hope this has given you a bit more idea of how Slack can be used as your digital HQ. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you on another session soon. Have a great day.